Happy Sunday to you all. Hope you're having a great weekend. Hope you're having a great day. I'm sure you're watching football. We're going to go ahead and do our Week 11 review, everything that happened yesterday and a few days before. I was going to wait to do it till Monday and Tuesday, but some big things have come down here in the last 12 hours, I guess. So we'll get to that. Didn't do a preview show last week. I was sick as a dog. I don't think a lot of you have heard me, but vitamins, man, they are nothing but a scam. That is just a scam market right there. Not saying I shouldn't get sick if I'm taking immune boosting vitamins. I expect to get sick. But in my mind, if I'm boosting my immune system, it the severity and the length of the cold or whatever illness I have shouldn't be quite as bad or long. It is, no matter what I take. So yeah, I'm not wasting my money on that scam vitamin market anymore. If you take vitamins, I hope they work for you. They don't work for me. I think it's one big scam. All right, let's get down to some news. The big one of the day. I'm happy about it. Thousands of Aggie fans are happy about it. We're finally done with the whole Jimbo experiment. When he got hired back in, God, what was that? 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there. Man, I was ecstatic. I was like, this guy, we're going to be good again. Hopefully, we win some national championships. Definitely think we'll win some conference championships. Had that one good year, which I think it was the COVID year, wasn't it? Where they went to the Orange Bowl, won that. Hey, I was like, okay, this is good. This is good. We're going. And ever since then, it's been downhill. I don't know what the hell happened. Some people, some coaches, they just kind of lose their coaching edge. I mean, we've seen it over the years, as many years as I and a lot of y'all have been watching college football. Some coaches, they just lose the edge. I don't know what it is. I don't know what happened with Jimbo. I don't know if he just lost the edge or just couldn't connect with the players now or what. But anyway, never happy about when somebody gets fired, but when they're taking home over $70 million when they get fired, man, can you imagine getting fired and taking home millions of dollars in severance? Man, I'd go get fired tomorrow. But so, who are they gonna get? They have been getting used goods for the last couple decades. Jimbo, Kevin Sumlin, the guy from the Texans, I forget his name now. Him, Coach Fran. What they need to do is, if they can't, first of all, they need to go look at the top 10 of football the last several years. See who's consistent. If they can't get one of those coaches, which they're probably not going to be able to, I'm talking somebody like Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, that caliber of coaches. They're probably not going to get those. But look who the coordinator was on those teams. Are those coordinators still there? Did those coordinators go somewhere else? Can you lure that coordinator from that other school? Or can you get that coordinator, if they're still at that school, that's doing so well? Quit going for these damn, like I said, used goods. I mean, they're out there, they're everywhere, but I think a hot shot coordinator is the way to go this time around for A&M. But hey, that's why I'm not on the board of regents or anything. I'm just, sitting here doing the show. Oh, well. So, yeah. Another head coach got fired. Boise State. After 3 years, they fired Andy Avalos. I think I read they are right in the middle of the hunt for the Mountain West. I'm not sure about that for sure. They might be. But they got tired of him, fired him. Penn State, they fired their offensive coordinator, Mike Yurcich. Remember back in, I don't know, last summer, August, we talked about Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. Those three teams are going to battle it out for the Big Ten East Championship at least. And then Penn State plays Ohio State, and that kind of went out the window. Definitely went out the window yesterday. There's going to be Ohio State, Michigan playing for the Big East Championship. And I said it a couple weeks ago. I'll say it now. Whichever one of those teams wins the East Division, go ahead and put them down as the Big Ten champions. Because the West, they're just not there. I mean, I expected Wisconsin to be a lot better. They are with Luke Fickle coming in. I expected Iowa to be better, scoring more points than they did last year. Well, look at them now. So, yeah, whoever wins the East, pencil them in as Big Ten champion. Speaking of Big Ten, yeah, they suspended Jim Harbaugh. He's not allowed to be on the sidelines during games. Um, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm all about innocent until proven guilty. I feel they may have jumped the gun a little bit, but they needed to do something. Whether that is come out publicly, say, "Hey, we're investigating all this," because I don't think Big Ten has ever come out publicly and said anything about this. I may have missed it, but I just don't recall them saying anything about this. So they needed to do something, whether it was this or not. I'm not so sure, but they needed to do or say something. All right, so Texas running back Jonathan Brooks, man, out for the season, torn ACL. That sucks. All right, so let's get down to what happened. Week 11 preview. We'll go back a few days to Tuesday. Ohio, they're 7-3 now. They beat Buffalo 20-10. Miami of Ohio, they're 8-2 now. They beat Akron 19-0. Bowling Green, they're bowl eligible now. They got that sixth win. They beat Kent State 49-19. Toledo, they're 9-1. They beat Eastern Michigan 49-23. They're actually up by 35-3 at the half. That MAC championship game, that's gonna be a good game because you're gonna have some good teams in that playing in that MAC championship game. I usually don't watch it, but man, this year I'm gonna have to make an effort to watch that one. Thursday night, Louisville, they went to 9-1. They beat Virginia 31-24. Louisville's Jake Plummer, 243 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Louisville's defense had 9 tackles for the loss and 2 takeaways in that game. Friday, SMU went to 8-2. They beat North Texas 45-21. Preston Stone, SMU quarterback, 234 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Running backs Knighton and Johnson Jr. both rushed for 100 yards and a touchdown each. North Texas quarterback, though, Chandler Rogers, yeah, a good game. 240 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. UNLV, look at them, man. They're 8-2. They beat Wyoming, who started off really strong, but they've fallen to 6-4. But yeah, UNLV, great team. Wyoming beat Texas Tech, took Texas all the way to the fourth quarter before they lost. They've just kind of fallen off a little bit, but UNLV, man, they're going strong. All right, so Saturday, Ohio State beat Michigan State 38-3. Kyle McCord, 335 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Harrison Jr., 149 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Michigan State is just in turmoil. That was a great program under Mark D'Antonio. Remember, they went to the Rose Bowl, went to Big Ten championship games, and if I remember right, he had to step down because of his health. And never have really been the same. Never have. A lot of good players have left. They can't get the good players. Now they got all this turmoil with, sexual misconduct, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what that school's going to do. I mean, they really need to do something because they are just spinning out of control fast, on and off the field. It's just crazy. Let's see here. What we got? Oh, Georgia beat Ole Miss. That was a pretty good game until halftime. 28-14 at half. I really thought Ole Miss might do something. They outscored Ole Miss 24-3 in the half. Second half, Carson Beck 306 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Milton 127 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Edwards also had 2 rushing touchdowns. Rebels Jackson Dart 112 passing yards. Judkins 2 rushing touchdowns in that one. Michigan, like we talked about, who was Harbaugh'less, beat Penn State 24-15. Game, I don't know how to describe that game. Kind of slow, kind of, dare to say, lame. I just thought maybe it'd be a big explosive game, but it just wasn't. J.J. McCarthy, only 60 passing yards. I don't think he threw a pass in the second half at all. Quorum, 145 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Edwards had a rushing touchdown. Drew Aller, only 70 passing yards in that game. But he did throw a touchdown pass, and he also ran for 44 yards in a touchdown. Defense. They had 7 tackles for loss in that one. Close game, though. 14-9 at halftime. Michigan outscored Penn State 10-6 in the second half. So I guess you'd say it's kind of a defensive game. I just figured it'd be more explosive with these two teams, but what do I know? Hey, Florida State beat Miami 27-20. Man, those Florida State-Miami rivalry games throughout the years, damn, those were damn good. Travis, 265 passing yards and a touchdown. Benson, 2 rushing touchdowns. The kicker, Fitzgerald, 9 points in that one. Defense had 7 tackles for loss. Linebacker, Kalen DeLoach, 5 solo tackles and 2 sacks in that one. Emory Williams for Miami, 175 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Jacoby George, 153 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Good defense. Miami, they had 9 tackles for loss in that one. Wesley Bissain, 4 solo tackles, 3 of them for a loss, and a sack for Miami. Washington beat Utah, kind of a shootout there for a while, 35-28. Utes led at halftime, 28-24. All the action was in the first half because in the second half, Washington scored 11 points, and that was the only points in the second half. Crazy. Penix Jr., 332 yards, 2 touchdowns, also ran for a touchdown. Johnson, 104 rushing yards and a touchdown. I never had to say this guy's name. Odenuz. 111 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a damn good receiver. The kicker, Grass. Yeah, 9 points in this one. Defense was so-so, like it usually has, like it has been for Washington this year. Utah, Barnes, 267 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Jackson ran for 2 touchdowns. Defense, Lavani Damani, 12 total tackles, 9 solo tackles. Huskies, they are 10-0 for the first time since 1991, their national championship year under legendary coach Don James, the dog father. You know, he's proud right now. Washington, I like Washington. I've been a fan of Washington for years. Every week they're flirting with danger, and you just got to wonder, is it going to catch up to them? If it does, win. Regular season, postseason, I mean, that defense, man, is good enough to help them win, but not great enough to just, for Washington to just dominate. So you just got to wonder if that Husky defense is going to catch up to them. Oregon gives USC their 4th loss. Man, a lot of people pick USC to be in the playoff this year. Oregon beats them 36-27. Bo Nix, 412 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Irving, 118 rushing yards and a touchdown. Franklin, 147 receiving yards and a touchdown. Caleb Johnson, receiver, 126 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Defense had 9 tackles for loss, 6 solo and a sack for Oregon. Sorry, I got this dog barking out here. I'm just trying to tune it out. USC, Caleb Williams, 291 passing yards, touchdown, also ran for a touchdown. Lloyd and Jones, they ran for touchdowns too. I know he's only been there a couple of years, but how much longer does USC and Lincoln Riley stick around? I mean, defense is horrible. Get rid of the DC. You just wonder, is Lincoln Riley... Okay, so over the years, recently, you've had coaches that have left something good and went to something that's not as good. They look kind of greener. Remember Rich Rod, great at West Virginia, takes off to Michigan. Brett Bielema, look what he was doing at Wisconsin. Decides he wants to coach in the SEC, goes to Arkansas. Jimbo, decent at Florida State still. He decided he wanted something else, goes to A&M. And now Lincoln Riley, he has something good at Oklahoma. Sees the money, thinks the grass is greener at USC, and they are... A lot of coaches do that. Crazy. Texas, they led TCU at the half, 26-6. TCU made it interesting in the second half, outscoring Texas 20-3, losing by 3 points. Lost to Longhorns 29-26. Ewers, 317 passing yards and a touchdown. Brooks ran for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. Their kicker, Auburn, he may have been the saving grace in this game. He kicked, how many points did he kick? Just lost my place. 11 points. He may have been the saving grace, as we said. Defense, though, 6 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 turnovers they got. Jalen Ford, 9 tackles, 7 tackles for loss. TCU's Hoover, 302 yards, 2 touchdowns. Williams, 164 receiving yards and a touchdown. Their linebacker, Jamoya Hodge, 11 tackles, 7 of them were solo. This year, we've talked about how Alabama's kind of started off slow. Not yesterday. They came out of the gate against Kentucky on fire. They beat Kentucky 49-21. Led them 28-7 at halftime. Milroe had a monster game. 234 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, ran for 3 touchdowns. Defense played great. 9 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 turnovers. Kind of what you expected to see Bama look like this year, but you haven't. Leary for Kentucky, 158 passing yards, touchdown, threw an interception. Davis ran for 2 touchdowns. Oregon State, team nobody's really talking about. They go to 8-2. They beat Stanford 62-17. DJ Ongale, I don't know how to say his last name. He's doing a hell of a lot better here at Oregon State than he was cross country. 240 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Damian Martinez, 146 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. The defense had 6 sacks and 4 takeaways. Kitten Oladapo, I think that's how you say his name. He had 2 interceptions himself. So, good day for the defense. I actually didn't know who was going to win this next game. Missouri beats Tennessee 36-7. There was going to be a test for Missouri. Didn't know if they could actually win. Or if they did win, it was going to be, 1, 2, 3 points. But not like this. I mean, that's just crazy. Cook, 275 yards, touchdown. Ran for 55 yards on a touchdown. Schrader, 205 rushing yards and a touchdown. Dalen Cornell, 38-yard pick 6. Nice for him. Mevis, the kicker from Missouri, 12 points in this game. Tennessee's Milton, 267 passing yards and a touchdown. He was the leading rusher for Tennessee with 36 rushing yards. And you think about some of those good running backs Tennessee has had over the years, and you're like, well, where the hell are they now? I mean, it's just crazy. 83 total rushing yards for Tennessee yesterday. Vols defense had a good day, though you wouldn't know it by looking at the score. 8 tackles for loss and an interception. Wesley Walker, he had 9 tackles, 4 solo. Guess the defense played it good. The offense just, Okay, so this next one kills me. Well, now I got a yard guy across the street. He's going to mow the grass over here. It's not growing because it's almost wintertime, but that's going to make some more noise too. All right, so just when you thought Oklahoma State looks like a strong team on a roll, they might make a run at the Big 12 title game, UFC comes along and cooks them 45-3. Central Florida's Bryce Plumlee, 11 for 18, 299 yards, 3 touchdown passes to Kobe Hudson. R.J. Harvey ran for 206 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. Defense, they had 3 interceptions, shut down Oklahoma State's running game to just 52 total yards. And Oklahoma State's got Ollie Garden, who nobody talks about, totally badass player. Only 25 rushing yards. Longest rush of the day for him was 5 yards. Wow. Bowman, 225 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for the Cowboys. Owens, he was the Cowboys' leading receiver, 85 yards. Some good news for him, though. Safety Kendall Daniels, 11 tackles, 6 solo, 1 sack. Didn't see this one coming either. Texas Tech beating Kansas 16-13. I figured Kansas was going to win that one. Game was at home. Jayhawks, they didn't score their 13 points until the 4th quarter. Both teams had decent rushing. Texas Tech leading rusher was Brooks, 133 yards and a touchdown. Kansas's leading rusher was Neal, 137 yards and a touchdown. Texas Tech defensive back C.J. Baskerville, 11 tackles, 10 were solo. Oklahoma beats West Virginia 59-20. Sooners scored double digits in every quarter of this game. Dylan Gabriel, 423 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 of them to Drake Stoops, who had 164 receiving yards. Gabriel also ran for 50 yards and 3 touchdowns in this one. Sawchuk, 135 rushing yards. Defense, 2 interceptions, 8 tackles for loss. West Virginia's Green, 154 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Their safety, Anthony Wilson, 11 tackles, 8 solo. LSU beat Florida 52-35, but the LSU defense let Florida hang around and threaten them. Seems like every time LSU would score, defense would just give up a score to Florida, and then Florida would be right back in it. It's kind of a theme this year. A lot of teams have great offense, but the defense is just their Achilles heel. Crazy. Anyway, Jaden Daniels, 372 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, ran for 234 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think this has a record, like 600-something total yards, just from him. Some kind of record. Thomas Jr., 150 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Neighbors, 132 receiving yards. Graham Mertz for Florida, 311 passing yards and a touchdown. Also ran for a touchdown. ETN, 99 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Not bad. Pearsall, 103 receiving yards for Florida. A lot of talk about what's going to happen with Billy Napier. Excuse me. I thought he was going to be a good fit at Florida. Did such a fantastic job at Louisiana. I figured maybe he could transfer it over to Florida. Outside of a few games, it just hadn't happened. Remember last year, first game, they beat Utah? Everybody's like, oh, crap. Watch out for Florida. Pretty much tanked after that. So, beat Tennessee this year. People say, hey, Florida's headed in the right direction. Not really. So, I don't know. It's going to be crazy to see what happens over there. Arizona beats Colorado 34-31. Fifta from Arizona, 214 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Coleman ran for 179. McMillan, 107 rushing or receiving yards and a touchdown for the Wildcats. Colorado side, Sanders, 262 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Ran for a touchdown. Boy, we are a long way from that first game back in September where they just killed TCU. And everybody was all over Colorado and Coach Prime. Come a long, long way since that weekend, huh? I mean, that's just shows you how this sport is. Iowa beats Rutgers 22-0. Iowa Deacon Hill threw a touchdown pass to Caleb Brown. Patterson ran for a touchdown. Drew Stevens kicked 10 points for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Defense. Iowa defense held Rutgers to just 93 passing yards and 34 rushing yards in that one. And like I said, that West over there is a mess. Whoever wins the East is going to be Big Ten champions. Tulane. Boy, they're playing with fire a little bit a few weeks in this season. Survive against Tulsa, though. They beat them 24-22. They are 9-1 now. Looking for another trip back to maybe the Cotton Bowl or some other New Year's Day Bowl. Pratt, 194 passing yards. Touchdown. Hughes, 131 rushing yards and a touchdown. Bowman had a TD catch. Shedro Lewis, 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown for the Green Wave. Tulsa's Camden Benjamin, 157 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Kicker Chase Mayer. 10 points for Tulsa. Safety, Kadarian Roy, 11 tackles, 9 of them were solo. Last year, Tulane, hell of a season, goes to Cotton Bowl, beats USC. You kind of think now, okay, if they keep winning, they get to a New Year's Day 6 Bowl, who's the big team that they're going to be matched up against, and can they beat another good team? Interesting to see, man. Tulane, I watched a few Tulane games. Even the Ole Miss one that they lost, they're a damn good, entertaining team. Try and check out one of their games before the season ends if you can. Really good team. Well, what usually is a great basketball game also turned into a good football game. Duke and North Carolina. North Carolina beat them 47-45 in two overtimes. Drake May, 342 passing yards, touchdown, also ran for two touchdowns. Hampton, 169 rushing yards and a touchdown. Kicker Burnett, 21 points. Defense, 3 sacks, 6 tackles for loss. Linebacker Cedric Bray, 11 tackles, 5 solo. Duke's Leftis, 189 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, also ran for a touchdown. Waters, 113 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Moore had 3 touchdown catches for Duke. Their defense had 8 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. Trey Freeman, 14 tackles, 10 of them were solo, and 1 sack for him. Duke 6-4. You just gotta wonder where they would be if Riley Leonard had not gotten hurt in that Notre Dame game a few weeks back. Because man, they were on a roll. They were beating people, looked good doing it, and then he gets hurt in that Notre Dame game. You just gotta wonder. K-State beats Baylor 59-25. Will Howard for K-State, 235 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, also ran for a touchdown. Keenan Barber, 45-yard pick 6 for Kansas State. Their defense had 8 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and forced 4 turnovers. Blake Shapen for Baylor, 253 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, only 85 rushing yards for Baylor. Dabney had 105 receiving yards and a touchdown. Pendergrass, 2 touchdown catches. Illinois beat Indiana 48-45 in overtime. Illini 5-5 now, trying to get to a bowl game. I really thought Illinois would be better than they are. Maryland, congratulations. You ended your 4-game losing streak. Beat Nebraska 13-10. South Carolina beat Vanderbilt 47-6. Spencer Rattler, 351 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, also ran for a touchdown. Virginia Tech beat Boston College 48-22. Even though they lost, Boston College is 6-4, bowl eligible. Really good turnaround for this team because they have been crap the last few years. Them and Arizona and somebody else, I forget. Great turnarounds, man. Really, really, really good. Clemson, bowl eligible now. Could you believe that we are saying Clemson is bowl eligible now in November? That's just crazy. They beat Georgia Tech 42-21. South Florida beat Temple 27-23. Liberty 10-0 now. Beat Old Dominion 38-10. James Madison 10-0 now. Beat UConn 44-6. But they can't go to a bowl because of the stupid rules. Jordan McLeod, 457 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. NC State, 7-3. They beat Wake Forest 26-6. Wake Forest, just a totally different team without Sam Hartman. Crazy. Memphis, they're 8-2. They beat Charlotte 44-38 in overtime. Chandler Martin for Memphis, 60-yard pick 6. Appalachian State beat Georgia State 42-14. Troy, they're 8-2 now. They beat Louisiana Monroe 45-14. Troy's Gunnar Watson, 219 passing yards, 4 touchdowns in that game. Sam Houston, they win their 2nd game of the year. Congratulations. Beat Louisiana Tech 42-27. Utah State beat Nevada 41-24. Sini, let's see if I can say his name right. Sini Tavake for Utah State, 63-yard pick 6. Pretty impressive. Middle Tennessee beat Florida International 40-6. Purdue beat Minnesota 49-30. Hudson Card for Purdue, 251 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, also ran for a touchdown. Minnesota, another team I thought would be good on the Big Ten West side. Just ain't working out for them. Northwestern, they are 5-5 now, 1 win away from bowl eligibility. Beat Wisconsin 24-10. Both these teams are opposite of what I expected. When all that garbage happened last summer with Pat Fitzgerald and Northwestern's in turmoil, I was like, those guys are going to be lucky to win a game this year. Now they're 5-5, need 1 more to become bowl eligible. Wisconsin, on the other hand, get Luke Fickell. I said, watch out for Wisconsin. This is going to be a damn good team. They're in the middle of the road, right there in Minnesota and Iowa and all them. Both these teams are total opposites what I thought they were going to be back in August and all that. So good for them. One more win, man. You can get past all this crap behind you. Let's see. New Mexico State. Man, we've been talking about them. Can they get to a second consecutive bowl game? They are 8-3 now. And they've clinched a berth in the Conference USA Championship game. So, yeah, that success they tasted last year, they wanted to continue it. Beat Western Kentucky 38-29. Good for them. Syracuse, they're 5-5. One more win needed. They beat Pitt 28-13. Navy beat UAB 31-6. Coastal Carolina 7-3. They beat Texas State 31-23. Coastal Carolina safety Clayton Isbell, 11 tackles, 5 solo, and 3 sacks. Nice game for him. Auburn, they hit 6 wins. Congratulations to them. Beat Arkansas 48-10. Peyton Thorne, 3 touchdown passes, and he ran for a touchdown. Cal, they're another one that's kind of turned their program around. They're looking better and better. They beat Washington State 42-39. Mendoza, 150 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Ott, he rushed for 167 and a touchdown. Touchdown for Cal. Man, Washington State, they start off good. Remember, Oregon State, Washington State, 2 teams playing great football. Nobody wants them. Oregon State's the only one that's still going strong. Washington State's falling off the map, even with Cam Ward, who's a good quarterback. I don't know what's going on up there in Pullman. East Carolina beat FAU 22-7. South Alabama beat Arkansas State 21-14. Both those teams need one more win to become bowl eligible. Cincinnati beat Houston 24-14. Marshall beat Georgia Southern 38-33. Marshall's Rasheen Ali, 165 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Colorado State beat San Diego State 22-19. San Diego State is 3-7. What the hell happened to them? They've been a good team the last few years, and also this year, that was like crazy. Texas A&M, they're 6-4, going to a bowl game after missing one last year. Beat Mississippi State 51-10, and then fired their coach. UTSA beat Rice 34-14. It's a 10-7 game at the half. UTSA scored 21 in the third quarter, put an end to that. Arizona State beat UCLA 17-7. Here's another one. Chip Kelly. How much longer is UCLA going to put up with Chip Kelly? Dare those LA schools both fire their coach in the same season? Well, no. Both fixing to go into the Big Ten? Well, we'll see. Boise State beat New Mexico 42-14, then fired their coach also. Iowa State hit 6 wins after a bad couple of years. Bowl eligible, beat BYU 45-13. Iowa State Santa, 2 rushing touchdowns. Noel had 2 touchdown catches. San Jose State beats Fresno State. I didn't think that. I figured Fresno State would kill them, but nope. San Jose State beats them 42-18. Fresno State 8-2 now. Let's see. Hawaii wins their 4th game of the season. Hey, get a little luck on their side, play some good football. They could go to a bowl game. Only need 2 more wins. And who did they beat? Who did they beat to win their 4th game of the season? Some little crap school in the Mountain West or wherever? No. They beat Air Force. They beat an 8-1 Air Force team. If I remember right, it was in Colorado Springs. God, I love college football. It's crazy. Anyway, they beat them 27-13. I still got shit in my throat from that damn sickness. All right, so we'll have some FCS scores real quick, and then we'll be gone. I'll let you get back to watching NFL or whatever. Holy Cross, they fell to 6-4, losing to Army 17-14. Duquesne fell to 6-4, losing to Stonehill 33-28. Illinois State, they're 6-4, beat Murray State 44-7. South Dakota State going strong still, 10-0, beat Youngstown State 34-0. But Youngstown State is 6-4. Get a couple more wins here coming up. 1 or 2 more, and you could probably get in the playoffs. Yale, they're 6-3. They beat Princeton 36-28 in 2 overtimes. Lafayette, they're 8-2. They beat Fordham, who's 6-4, 24-16. Delaware, they're 8-2. They beat Campbell 45-7. Harvard is 8-1. They beat Penn, who is 6-3, 25-23 in 3 overtimes. South Dakota, they're 8-2. Beat North Dakota 14-10. Davidson, they're 7-3 now, losing to Morehead State 47-14 or 17. And Morehead State's 4-6. William and Mary, they're 6-4 now. Beat Hampton 31-10. Eastern Illinois is 7-3 now. They beat Tennessee State, who's 6-4. Beat them 30-17. Rhode Island, they're 6-4 now. Beat North Carolina A&T 31-24. Albany 8-3. Beat Stony Brook 38-20. Villanova, they are 8-2. Beat Towson 33-10. Western Carolina, they're 7-3. They beat Eastern Tennessee State 58-7. Furman, they are 9-1. Beat VMI 37-3. Austin P is 8-2. They beat Utah Tech 30-17. Richmond is 7-3. They beat Albion 38-24. Drake 7-3. Beat Presbyterian 16-14. Alabama State 6-3. Beat Mississippi Valley State 20-3. Tarleton State 8-3. Beat Abilene Christian 31-30. Montana State 8-2. Beat Eastern Washington 57-14. Weber State, who is 5-5, they beat a 7-2 Idaho team. Beat them 31-29. Tell me they're not partying there at Weber State last night. Probably still partying. UT Martin 8-2 beat Southeast Missouri State 41-14. Mercer's 8-3. They beat Samford 28-21. There's another one. Howard, who's 5-5, beat North Carolina Central, who was 8-1. Now they're 8-2. 50-20. Probably cake parties going on Howard's campus last night and today too, probably. North Dakota State 7-3. They beat Southern Illinois, who's 6-4. They beat them 34-10. St. Thomas, Minnesota, they're 7-3. Beat San Diego 20-14. Central Arkansas, they're 7-3. Beat Eastern Kentucky 27-24. Sacramento State is 7-3. They beat Cal Poly 41-30. Florida A&M, they're 9-1. Beat Lincoln 28-0. And Montana 9-1. Beat Portland State 34-10. That is it. We'll be back later in the week to preview what's coming up. Things the races are now starting to come to a point. I think the Big Ten race is pretty wrapped up between Ohio State and Michigan. SEC, yeah, you can pretty much probably call that one. Pac-12, I don't know. And FCS, they're starting to really get to that point too, where you're going to see who's going to be in that playoff bracket of 24 teams. Wow, they have 100 and something teams, and they have a 24 team playoff bracket. Huh? Go figure. All right, y'all have a good day. Stay busy. Stay busy so the week goes by fast. And we'll be back the next Saturday again. But before that, I'll have a preview show coming up sometime later in the week. Y'all take it easy.